Dajahao. Hello, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you, Carrie, thank you, Meng, thank you for making this forum available. Just by participating, you're helping to educate yourself in this election, which is very important. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to come here. Some of you know me, some of you are old friends, some of you are new friends I just met today, some of you are hopefully future friends, so that we will leave that way on a friendly basis after we're through here. But it's been my privilege to serve Rowland Heights in the state legislature for 12 years. 4 years in the state assembly, 8 years in the state senate, working on many issues jointly with you. I served in the Diamond Bar City Council as council member and mayor for 9 years prior to my service in the Sacramento, and I hope to be your next representative in Washington, D.C. We have many issues facing us. Some are local. You're in an unincorporated area. You know what's that like when you don't have adequate representation. And that's not saying anything bad about those representing you, because I know they work hard at it, but it's just different when you don't have somebody close that you can relay your concerns to and that will pay attention to your needs. I've always tried to be a close representative of the community. Many of you know my wife, Mei, who is certainly integral, and she has been my unpaid liaison within the Chinese community all these years and will continue to be so. She is on her way here. She's actually trying to find this location right now. But very pleased to be with you today and look forward to talking a little bit longer in a bit. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Susie Park Leggett, and I am running to become a United States Congresswoman from 39th Congressional District. I am running this election based on my experience on the Capitol Hill of the United States Congress. When I was there, I worked as Chief of Staff for the Speaker of the United States Congress. Before that, I worked for Herb Tenzer of New York, Democrat, Congressman Lester Wolf, New York, Democrat, in United States Congress as a capacity of executive assistant and administrative assistant. As you may recall, Congressman Wolf
Hello, hi, I am Dr. Mai Contrand, and I have been a pediatrician for 25 years practicing and living in Orange County in Yorba Linda. I started there right after residency at UCLA. I started at the Kaiser in Anaheim Hills. I am running because I've had a real American dream. I came here as a refugee from Vietnam. I was part of the orphan airlift out, and then I was able to join other migrant families. I work in the field. I also worked as a janitor at Harvard. I was lucky to have a very good education, and that's what I am running for, to make sure that we have all the educational opportunities that we can for our children. And also, we need to make sure that we have good health care for our seniors. So on those issues, that's what I'm running for. But really, I am running for just so that we have a stronger voice in Congress as well. I think Asian American have come a long way, and we need to have a stronger voice in Congress. Again, Dr. Mai Contrand.
Good afternoon. My name is Karen Lee Schatzley. I am a career prosecutor. I've been a DA in Orange County now for almost 30 years. I have worked since I was 15 years old. I am a first-generation Latina American. I started working at 15. I put myself through school, worked full-time, went to school at night, put myself through law school. I had 2 kids in law school while working full-time, was pregnant with my third when I sat for and passed the bar exam on my first attempt. I have been prosecuting child molesters, serial rapists, career criminals for the past 25 years or so. I have seen things that people don't want to know exist. Most recently, I ran against a judge who had been censured in Orange County for having sex with his law students in chambers and giving them a promise of a job with the DA's office. Many politicians have endorsed that man, and they went out and put their reputation behind him. What I've seen should not happen, and if it happens on a small level, it happens on a big level. I'm running to change this. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Nancy Leeds. I'm Andy Thorburn's campaign manager. Andy wants to extend his apologies that he wasn't able to make it today, and thank you very much for the invitation. I'm here. My associate Brendan is in the back of the room. So if you do have any questions for Andy, we're happy to relay them to him after the forum and put you in touch. A little bit about Andy. Andy started his career as a high school English teacher. He was teaching high school students, and he actually wound up leading a strike for safer schools and to combat education funding that landed him in jail. It's that same passion he's going to bring to the 39th District fighting for this community. Years later, Andy's career evolved, brought him out to California. He came here with nothing and started a successful business, and he wants those same opportunities to be available to everyone in our community. So it looks like my time is up, but I look forward to telling you more about Andy's story.
Dr. Arbolit, one of the candidates just arrived, so I need to, we have, in 1 minute, introduce yourself. So you're next, you just arrived in time.
Hi, I'm Wade Turnbull. I'm Steve Cox, campaign manager. Steve is away in Arizona at the moment, so unfortunately he's not here to join in with the debate and forum. Steve is born and bred in the 39th District. He's a professional journalist, photographer, also a professional motorcycle rider. The main reason he's running for Congress in the district, he understands the constituency, he understands their needs when it comes to health care, also with teachers' needs. He's basically signed an anti-corruption contract. He's taking absolutely no money from any corporations. It's all been publicly funded through friends. And I'm running out of time. There's so much to say. So thank you for your time, and please go to the table, and we have a lot of information for you. Thank you.
Let me remind you, please turn off your mobile device and any device will make a sound. And if you have a private conversation, please stay outside the room, and we need to this room keep in the way. Yeah, please. Dr. Lee.
大家好，我是李鹤章医师 ，Dr. Herbert Lee，39选区唯一的华裔候选人。我的政见有一大关于健保的改进，健保让大家可以负担健保的所有的给付，所有的 premium， 所有的 deductible copay， 要可负担的健保，这是我绝对可以做得到的。我有8大地方建设，我会努力在国会为39选区选民来完成。我希望得到华裔选民的支持，在6月5号投下您神圣的一票，让我有机会挺进国会，为华裔发声。谢谢大家。
Thank you for the opportunity to be here today, Ken. My name is Sam Jamal. I'm running for Congress in the 39th District. I grew up in our community. I'm the son of immigrants. My mother is from South America, Colombia. My father is from the Middle East, Jordan. And like all of you, our American story is about building for the next generation. It's about making sure our kids can get ahead. It's about making sure we can buy a home, afford health care, get a good paying job to make this country our own. And so I'm running to make sure we all have a voice. I began my career as a civil rights attorney. I worked on immigration. I worked for President Obama, and I worked in the United States Congress. I understand how to advocate and how to fight on these issues. And as your congressman, I will listen and be here and come here and have a conversation on what we can build together. because I worked in government. I know we can do better. But I also worked in business for Tesla and know we can create good jobs that build us into the future. So thank you for this opportunity today. I look forward to our conversation.
Hello, my name is George Shen, and I am so honored to be among all these illustrious federal candidates. I'm the only state candidate. I'm running for the 29th State Senate District in this special election. I'm going to take a chapter from Dr. Lee's example. 我是这一次我们唯一在29选区里面的候选人，唯一一个能够用中文跟我们的选民交谈的。我不但能够用中文跟我们的选民交谈，我还可以用西班牙文跟我们的拉丁裔的选民交谈。那当然，用英文跟我们的选民交谈，那更是不在话下。我自己做生意做了30年了，所以我是这一次29选区里面唯一的一个 veteran。我从1983年从海军陆战队退役以后，September 11之后，我自愿回到我们加州 Army National Guard。我是一个生意人，所以呢，我知道我们生意人的艰苦，每一个月要 meet payroll、pay taxes。然后呢，我是一个坚决支持特朗普总统的候选人。谢谢，希望能够得到支持。
So now, well, anyway, hello? Yeah, you did. Yeah. So, well, anyway, I'm glad all these wonderful candidates are here. So far as you can see, we invited the candidates from both Democratic Party and also Republican Party. We want to give each candidate a fair chance. So now we will start the procedure that each candidate will have, let's say, 7 minutes, right, to introduce yourself and to the audience. Thank you. I'm not introduce yourself, introduce your ideas and your campaign ideas, and basically sell yourself to the audience. Thank you.
Well, hello again. I told you a little bit about myself previously. Let me go in a little bit more detail. So again, I'm former Senator Bob Huff. I'm a California native. I'm not an immigrant. My wife is an immigrant, and Mei is here now. Mei, please stand up so people can see you. But I grew up in the very southern part of the state. It's called Imperial Valley. It's a farming area. Now, my wife doesn't like me to tell people that I'm a farmer because, that doesn't have high status in Chinese culture. But my parents were also teachers. And the value of growing up on a farm was we learned the value of hard work at an early age. If we had hired people out in the fields, we were out there side with them. And it helped teach me how to lead by example. We moved into the thriving metropolis of Imperial when I was 10 years old. There's 3,000 people in that little village. We all went to the same school at a time when there was a lot of racial issues in the bigger cities and they had to institute busing. We were already integrated. And I grew up learning that my neighbor, regardless of color, in fact, our closest neighbor was Japanese farmers out where we lived on the farm. But we were all in this together. I didn't think of people as being Latino or Asian or, round eye or whatever. We were just people. And so I moved to Diamond Bar in 1983. Started a business, ran it there until I went to the legislature. But everybody up here is vying to be a U.S. representative. That's what this job is. A representative is somebody that represents the people. You have 535 people in Congress, 100 of those Senate, 435 from the House of Representatives. Now, you are there sharing in the marketplace of ideas, hoping to represent your district. So first of all, you have to have somebody that's plugged into the district, that understands the district, that can relay those ideas. Then they have to be a good communicator and to work with the people that they are working with. And I can tell you, every election cycle, people wake up and they say, I'd like to run for Congress. But the truth is, Those that make the best Congress people are the ones that are already doing a good job, and you promote them. And that goes the same thing for people at the state level. Find somebody doing a good job, promote them. Don't just go with somebody. And there are good people that start from nothing and jump to the highest level. But I can tell you from my experience, those that are doing a good job, you promote them. So what have I done for the region? In my 12 years that I was in the state legislature, one of the first issues that came to mind was my wife, Mei, got a phone call from one of our friends saying that, by the way, the timer disappeared, can't see it, said that their after-school program was shut down by the state. And I said, well, why would they do that? And so she got on the phone, she called around, and sure enough, not only had they been shut down, but a couple other schools have been shut down. So as I dug into this issue, I found out that we looked at them as after-school tutoring programs. The state looked at them as illegal daycare. And so as we went round and round on this issue, and I held meetings with all the after-school program that I could find, and we had Department of Social Services there and others, it took 5 years, but eventually I got that carved out in education code so they could be treated for what they were, which was after-school tutoring programs that were benefiting not just those students, but everybody, because they helped bring up the school scores. I know education is important to the Chinese community, but that was a very long and difficult battle taking on the state in a way that I always handled it. But that's something that I list among my accomplishments. Somebody was talking about the apology for the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. Well, we did vote on that, I thought, and then some of my Chinese friends said, no, what you voted on was a statement of regret. We want you to do an apology. So I tried to nuance it, but the reality is a statement of regret isn't an apology. And that's what was done at the federal government as well. So I picked up that mantle and we pushed through a formal apology from the state of California for the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. And then we passed a resolution calling upon Congress to do that. Now they still have a statement of regret. Everybody calls it an apology, but you look at the actual language, they regret that they did it. They didn't really apologize for that. So if I go back to Congress, I will carry that mandate from you, the community, that you want an apology like every other group has gotten. You shouldn't be discriminated once more on an issue as important as this. Now, you know, there's another interesting thing about Chinese. You are very merit-based. Many of you are entrepreneurs, you start businesses, you succeed if you're good. You fail if you're not. That's the way life works. But when it comes to our education system, so often politicians want to say, you are overrepresented, you're working too well. We want this other group to come ahead of you. And so when a bill wound its way through the legislature called Senate Constitutional Amendment 5 that would reintroduce government discrimination, saying the government could say who got into these public school slots, and it was elementary through college, although college is what we focused on, this bill would say the government could choose who it is, not based on merit. And I spoke out against that. And I found that when I spoke out against that, it was put on YouTube, and that went viral, because it resonated with the Chinese community, because you know how hard you work to get your kids in after-school programs, everything else, so they can get in top universities. And then you have other people that are not working as hard. And some of them need some additional help, economic or whatever, I get that. But the baseline should be merit-based and not just whoever the government chooses, because they typically aren't going to be choosing your best interest. So that was a battle that we fought and won as well. I was able to introduce the Lunar New Year into the curriculum so that other kids have an understanding why all of a sudden their Chinese friends are disappearing or their Asian friends are disappearing around Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year, because it's an important cultural holiday. It's a time of family, time of renewal. And so that is going into the next social studies textbooks so that other students will understand that as well. You know, there's so many things at the federal level that we deal with, but first and foremost, I want to leave you with this. I have been your representative. I believe I've represented this community well. I want to continue to do that. I will be your voice in Washington, D.C., and I will be able to articulate your ideas and, more importantly, be able to relate to them back there, because I have dealt in a bipartisan environment for the last 12 years. So if you have any more questions, there is a flyer around here that has both Chinese and English, but you can always call my wife, Mei. She's easy to find on WeChat or other places. You can talk to me, but if you feel more comfortable with her, that's fine. My website is bobhuff4congress.com, and I'd love to talk to you more. More than anything, I value you. I would like your vote, but be engaged and get out there and vote in this very important election cycle. Thank you so much. 谢谢. And by the way, I apologize, I have to get to an event in another city that started 25 minutes ago, and I'm supposed to speak in 15 minutes.
Is it okay to sit down? Previously, my time ran out when I mentioned Congressman Wolf, with whom I worked as administrative assistant. He is the one that originated Taiwan Act of 1979, co-sponsored with Teddy Kennedy and Senator Paul Simon. Taiwan Act was originated because we wanted to enhance friendly relations with Taiwan and United States. Now, going back to my main speech, I am running this election based on my experience. Congress I knew and worked for the 15 years was the part of great society of the Kennedy-Johnson administration, which created many good works: immigration, poverty, healthcare, social security, retirement programs, and equal rights for all humankind. My late husband was the first congressman to visit Golda Meir of Israel to offer our military aid, visited India and two Chinas to enhance our diplomatic relations, and created free trade and free trade zones. After Johnson signed the Kennedy program of PL 480, which is Public Law 480, sharing our plenty of our rice from Northern California to South Korea and to those developing countries. At the same time, we helped American farmers. After Johnson, in addition, we passed 200-mile fishing limit zones, which we kicked out Russian fishing boats so that our fishermen can fish freely. I, Susie Park Leggett, was the first Korean American to work for the Speaker of the United States Congress. During my 13 years as Chief of Staff, I understand how Congress works. This experience can be a great help to 39th Congressional District residents. My mission when I am elected to uphold and keep Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, assistance to everyone. More than 70% of Americans, you too, later, will be on those programs at some point of our lives. Congress made a promise to help with those programs, and I am determined to fight to keep those programs. The gun control. I am for the gun control, but with limited gun control, I like to work with our Republican counterparts in Congress. We must protect our children from getting shot in school. I like to have our children go to school without the fear that this may be our last day of the school. The gun lobbyists keep giving money to Congressional Republican leadership. We must stop that, and I will work across the aisle to work with them to help our children. As a Korean immigrant, American citizen, I know the real America. It's great, kind, and gentle. With this spirit, we must reach out to help elderly, DACA, TPS, and assist our students with their tuitions. And we have to think about how can we help with their student debts. I know the operation of the Congress from inside out because I was there. I know exactly how to get things done. All I need is your support to get me there. I will work towards people of 39th Congressional District. My door will be open, and you may come to talk to me directly, and I will work for you. Please vote on June 5. Vote for Susie Park Leggett. Sheshe.
Hello again, I'm Dr. Mai Contrand, and as I said before, I've been a pediatrician for 25 years, living and practicing and raising my 5-year-old in Orange County. Right. So this is part of the district that I started out right after my residency at UCLA, and this is also where I'm currently living. Now, I want to tell you stories about 3 women who've inspired me to run, because really I'm just an ordinary mother, doctor, but I feel the need to run this year because I think the voices in our community have not been listened to. And I think that that is what a doctor does the best. We listen and we solve problems and we persevere when things don't get changed. So I feel like as a non-politician, but as a doctor, as a community leader, I really feel like it's time that we have politics not as usual. We need ordinary citizens to get involved with life skills and experience in the community. So the 3 women who've inspired me include my first is my 5-year-old daughter, who I'm blessed to have after fighting breast cancer twice. Now, I think we all know that women, most of us have to deal with this issue, so I actually battled it once and then it recurred 5 years later. After 2 rounds of treatment, I did 8 rounds of IVF to have my daughter. And so I'm blessed to have a 5-year-old, but you know what, I'm so concerned that what she sees of America today is so different than the vision that I saw when I came over here as a 9-year-old refugee. So I was part of that orphan airlift out of Vietnam during the end of the war. And when I was brought onto the American soil by a soldier, I was carried off the plane by an American soldier. He really represented to me what is great about this country, a country that's kind, welcoming, but also caring of those in need. Well, that's not the vision of America that my daughter sees, and I'm concerned about that. And there's another 5-year-old patient of mine who had a brain tumor, and I saw her the day after the election. Now her family, her mom is a nail shop worker who had just gotten health care through the Affordable Care Act subsidy. And I remember just talking to this mom and we were just so petrified that she was going to lose her health care and that they were going to face tremendous burden fighting this illness in their child. And so that's when I decided, you know what, we really need to have somebody speaks for these families. And I'll tell you, it's probably also because I was a breast cancer survivor that I remember having to fight. I had to fight the insurance company to get the treatment and the diagnostics that actually detected my recurrence. And so even as a doctor who really knows how to maneuver the system, I had to really fight hard. So I want to make sure that the same is done for my patients and their families. And then the last woman who I'm running for is my 85-year-old mom. Now, my dad, when he passed away, one of the first things he said to me was, take care of your mom, make sure she has good health insurance. Now, my 85-year-old mom, half of her Social Security goes toward Medicare supplement. And that's, that is such a big burden on her. And when I think of all the seniors who have to really take care of themselves, I think it's time that we step up and really make sure that they get the earned benefits that they deserve. So these are the 3 women who have inspired me to run. Why do I think I can do it? I mean, I've been a fighter all my life, but now I've also fought to, one, make sure that I have been a small business owner who's responsible, right? My workplace, my medical group won the best medical group in Orange County for 2017. We also won the best workplace, small workplace in Orange County in 2015. And that was because I had to make sure that all of my employees had health insurance and retirement benefits, even when health insurance was not mandatory. So I fought to be a responsible business owner. I fought to also bring medical care to some of the remote regions in the world. I've gone on more than 100 missions. I've led and organized, not just gone, more than 100 missions abroad to post-disaster relief areas and to provide medical care for some of the most really underserved regions in the world. And so I have the ability and I have the understanding and the knowledge of healthcare and how to bring it to make sure that we have quality healthcare for our communities. So why am I running? I'm running to make sure that our families, right, working families, that all of us have access to quality, affordable health care. Whether it's our seniors, whether it's our children, or the veterans, that's my most important platform. Secondly, though, I do believe that we have to give our children and grandchildren access to education opportunities that will allow them to thrive in today's economy. Now, going back to the beginning of my American dream, I came here, I was a beneficiary of the public school system. Right? And I ended up being able to go to Harvard, but I got grants, I got scholarship, but I also work as a janitor at Harvard. Right? And I think that that's through what we're given, the opportunities that we're given, but through our hard work. And I think all of us immigrants know what it's like to come and be hardworking and also making the most of our opportunities. So I want to make sure that our children have those same opportunities through basically a good education in the U.S. And so I want to tell you that I have been officially endorsed by the California Teachers Association today on National Teachers Day. Right? I'm also endorsed by the National Education Association. So, we have teachers who are absolutely behind me because we believe that if we're going to put our priorities straight in this country, it's going to be basically between the parents, right, or the doctors, and the teachers. The teachers are the ones that are going to really make sure that our youth have the ability to really grow and achieve their dream. So these are the reasons why I'm running. I'm running on the platform of making sure that all of us have access to quality care, making sure that our youth have educational opportunities. But lastly, I want to make sure that my mom and people, seniors like her, have continued medical coverage. So we got to make sure that Medicare and Social Security benefits don't decrease, but they actually can increase. And I think that that takes somebody who really has the priorities straight to make sure that we increase Medicare and Social Security benefits, not decrease them. So again, these are my platforms and the reasons why I'm running. And I'll tell you, there's been no pediatrician in Congress ever. So if you can elect the first pediatrician and a woman of color, an Asian woman, that would be the best. So Dr. Tran 2018, DOCTRAN 2018.com. Thanks.
Thank you. My name is Karen Lee Schatzley, and first and foremost, I want to thank all of you for being here, because it is so disheartening to see how many people really don't become informed and don't get out and meet their candidates. I've seen several of these same candidates at other forums, and it's always the same ones. There's others that don't ever show up or show up and leave, and it's almost an insult to you, the people who make time to get to know us. It's important because the people that don't show up are typically afraid of saying something that you may not agree with, and therefore it's a vote against them rather than a vote for them. And I'd rather be here and let you know who I am and let you make that assessment for yourself. I am not a Democrat, I am not a Republican, and I am not a politician. It wasn't my lifelong dream to go to Congress. It wasn't even my dream to be a lawyer. circumstances had it that my parents were immigrants. My dad's Italian, my mom's from Argentina. My parents obtained their citizenship when I was 7 years old. We worked hard. I grew up in a home that I was told that you work hard and you stay humble and you don't tell people how great you are. You just show people greatness by being kind to them. I started working at 15 at a fast food chain, continued to work, and I have not stopped working since that day. I'm currently 53 years old, just turned 53 years old, and I've worked in public service for over 30 years. While I was attending undergraduate school, I put myself through school by being a probation officer. I worked the streets, I was armed, I worked at the Santa Ana and Orange Police Department as a gang probation suppression officer. I helped reintegrate our youth into program, and I helped incarcerate the worst of the worst. Thereafter, I went on to law school. After I graduated law school, and as I told you, passed the bar, pregnant with my third child on my first try, I applied to 2 positions, that of the district attorney and the FBI. I'm honored to say I was offered a job with both of those agencies. I picked the one with the district attorney to stay local and raise my children. Most of my children's life, I raised them as a single mom by myself while working and having a full-time job. I'm very proud to say that I have 3 adult children, all graduated college. My daughter's an engineer. We all live in the area, and we believe in giving back to the community. What really has made me want to make a difference and run for Congress is what I saw when I earlier indicated that I ran against a judge who is extremely connected to the Republican Party here in Orange County. That judge's dad used to be on the Board of Supervisors. And when he was on the Board of Supervisors, apparently the father is a very nice man. He made a lot of friends. His son went on to be a judge. He was unopposed. My elected official, Tony Rakakis, is best friends with his father. That judge was elected with Tony's help. And while he was on the bench, he was a teacher at Chapman University. He invited his female law students to come see him in court. And then he invited them back in chambers on the taxpayers' dollars and propositioned them, saying that if they would engage in sexual relations with him, he would get them a job with the DA's office. That was investigated. It was found to be true, and he was censured. When it came time for his re-election, nobody opposed him. There were several DAs in my office that were running for judge, but they wouldn't oppose him because of how connected he was. I felt as a sexual assault prosecutor that I could not stand by and not do something. I didn't want to be the one to do it, but I did. I fought the entire establishment here in Orange County to let them know that they have a choice. That judge won his seat again, and he's sitting on the bench in North Orange County. But it was very close, and I had a platform to tell everybody what he did, and I'll continue to tell them. I also want to tell you that some of the people running for this position had endorsed him, knowing what he did. But they were on the Board of Supervisors, they were important people, and they were friends with his dad. And they sold out their integrity because they wanted to keep their positions, and they wanted to get to a higher position. And that's how politics works. I am not a politician. I don't believe in any of that. And I believe in representing the people like you and me, people who come here from other countries and work hard and do things the right way to get ahead. Not people who want a handout, not people that want to ride on their daddy's coattails. People who really want to work and want to get ahead and shouldn't be put down because other people's fathers are getting them ahead when they're not doing the work. When I get to Washington with your help, if you choose to vote for me, some of my very first things to address is going to be the criminal justice reform. How it is that people stay on their jobs. There should be term limits. I don't believe people should be in their job forever. I think that there should be term limits so that you can focus on getting the work done. People get to Congress, in the House of Representatives, you're there 2 years. The second they get there, they start campaigning for more money so that they can keep their jobs. I have not asked for a dime from anybody. I have not asked for an endorsement because I see how those endorsements work. And it's usually a backroom deal that I'm going to give you this endorsement, but when you get to Washington, this is what I want done. I don't care what the Republican Party wants done. I don't care what the Democratic Party wants done. I care what the people want done. And I stand for what is right. I stood alone against the Orange County elite. I stood against that judge. And if you research me back in the 2000s, I stood against a judge who basically reduced a case where a little boy's hand was burned intentionally. And it made it all the way to national news because I stood against him, against my office's better judgment. Today, to this day, I'm still fighting the aftermath of running against that judge. But I won't stop. I won't stop because the people have a right to know. You, the people, need to be represented by somebody just like you. A kid who didn't know where she was going, had a rough life, worked hard, and stands for what's right. I want you to remember that when people get to Washington, it's not that easy to get things done. So you may have somebody stand here and say, I'll do this or I'll do that, but the reality is you need to be able to work together. Being a non-party candidate, I can work with both sides, and I can listen to both sides. And I will be there listening and speaking and working, not pointing fingers, not accusing, not blaming this establishment or that establishment, but representing you. So please visit my website, KarenForTheHouse.com. Thank you very much.
Hi, as I said earlier, I'm Nancy Leeds. I'm Andy Thorburn's campaign manager. Thank you so much for inviting us. And again, I invite you to come to one of our meet and greets or get to meet Andy in person. Let me tell you a little bit more about Andy's story. So, excuse me, as I said, he came here to California after having been a teacher and having gone bankrupt with nothing. And from that, he built a successful business with over 300 employees. His business does health insurance outside of the United States, and he's worked in 150 different countries. So he's seen what works and what doesn't when it comes to our health care, and he believes that health care is a human right. And that's why he is a champion of Medicare for all and will be in Congress. Working in 150 countries, Andy has a sense of different cultures across the globe. He's done several trips to China and partnered with Chinese companies. He's worked in the Middle East. And you know, one of the big themes of our campaign is restoring integrity and civility back to Congress and back to government. You know, Andy believes that people have inherent dignity as a member of a multicultural family. Trump's bigoted attacks and Trump's xenophobic language are deeply personal to Andy. And he knows that there's a lot more that unites us than divides us. So that's why Andy is going to make standing up to Donald Trump priority on day one. Let's see what else. You mentioned the Chinese Exclusion Act earlier, and that's a really dark part of America's history, but I don't think it's that far off in some ways from what we're seeing today, and Annie knows that our diversity is something to be celebrated and protected. Let's see what else. So some of the other stuff they asked us to talk about are thoughts on education. Andy is a big proponent of debt-free college for everyone. We talked about how important merit is in our society. Andy really believes that if you're willing to work hard and do the work, you shouldn't graduate college with debt. So he believes in debt-free 4-year and 2-year college. He also believes that there should be educational programs for people who don't choose to pursue a college education. And so he believes that our government should help support programs that train people in good jobs so that everybody has the dignity to earn their own wage in our society. Thoughts on homelessness. One thing that's really important to Andy is making sure that we all have a living wage here in California and in the United States. There's a bunch of issues with homelessness and land use in our community. Andy wants to deal with homelessness land use regulations, but he also thinks that raising the minimum wage will help people be able to afford the rising price of homes in Orange County. Let's see what else. So America's role in the international community. As I said, Andy's worked in every continent working on healthcare, and he knows how to talk to people. He knows how to talk to deals, and he knows that, you know, talking to people, learning about their culture and what makes them tick is a lot more helpful in creating an international atmosphere than just tweeting angrily about what you don't like in the world. And he's going to bring that sense of having worked in very different communities to Congress. That's why Andy is going to be able to build the broadest coalition. Right now we have Our campaign has been endorsed by some of the most progressive organizations, like Bernie Sanders' Our Revolution, all the way to small business owners, because Andy has the experience from a teacher to a business owner, and he knows how to talk to different people about different issues. That's why he's going to be so effective in Congress talking about health care for all, because he's seen it done, he's worked in it, and he understands how it works. So I'm going to pass on the rest of my time, but I want to encourage you to visit our website, which is thorburn4congress.com, and come talk to me or Brendan with any questions.
Hi, it's Wade Turnbull again. I'm standing in for Steve Cox. There's so much to go over with his proposals, what he's actually trying to accomplish or will accomplish to a degree in Congress when he's voted in. My suggestion is you go to voteforcox.com. There's 3,000 words of policy. He's gone over education, healthcare, housing, homeless, war on drugs, pretty much everything that's on this list. Also, general quality of life of Americans, that's one of his key issues. Again, if you have a look at his website, it's voteforcox.com. Thank you.
大家好，我是李鹤章医师。我祖籍浙江杭州，出生于台湾台南。我自小偶像是孙中山医师。孙中山医师讲过一句话，他说：“做人要做大事，不要做大官。”我还记得我小学2年级的时候写的作文是我的志愿。我想说，做大官不好，那我做大事。那我看看周围的这个什么是可以做大事，我发现水肥大队的这个队长蛮不错，可以做大事。所以我记得那时候小学的作文是写，第一志愿是当水肥大队队长。我今天2018年。在南加州执业，是在 local 的一个 Hoag Hospital， 我是胃肠科主任。胃肠科就是做水肥，我是有胃肠的检查，所以我还是做到这一点。今天我来到这边，整个过程我是个政治素人，但是我绝对不是一个菜鸟，我做了非常多的研究。2017年6月。我参加，而且做了草根运动，这里面就包括叫做 Progressive Democrat 做的 Anti-Trump Movement。当时我认为这个字不对，我说改成 Anti-Trump Care Movement， 就是 Trump Care 本身并没有这个字 ，There's nothing called Trump Care， 而是最基础是。Affordable Health Care Act，ACA， 也就是大家俗称的 Obamacare。Obamacare 欧式健保是被川普总统想尽办法要把它废除，想尽办法要把它改变。而原始的初衷 ，Affordable Health Care 是可负担的保险。问题是保费年年升 ，Deductible Copay 一直涨。5块变成105块，那么最严重的就是非学名药完全不 cover。我做胃肠肝胆，现在的丙肝、C 型肝是可以治得好的，8个礼拜的药，56颗药，132000块才能治得好丙肝。我说是美金。这个健保这个重大的问题里面。我在2004年在 USC School of Gerontology 博士论文，我开始写白皮书。白皮书现在已经1600多页，这个被智库采纳。原始精神是我们这次选战的最重要的 slogan， 就是 I will fight。To make your health care truly affordable， 就是我可以让民众真真正正的可以享受可负担的医疗照护。这个过程里面，我们有很多的方向，可是方向困难重重。可是我是一个专业的人，专业的医师，我有教育的背景，我有大数据的掌握，我进到国会，我一定可以做到。在地方建设方面，我们有8大方向。这8大方向里面，最切合39选区有关的，第一就是 infrastructure 基本建设的考量。基本上考量里面，我们最困惑的是附近的交通。我们看到57号到60号往西往东根本走不动。我们的方向是经由大数据，经由联邦拨款。这边我特别呼吁华裔选民一定要登记，只有你们登记成为选民，大数据里面才有联邦才能拨款，按人头可以多少补助。要用这样的办法，我们可以把这个南加交通尽快整治。教育方面是我的专长，我有南加大教育学硕士的学位，我现在是 UCI 的副教授，医学院的副教授。我认为现在大数据，现在人工智慧严重影响年轻学子们的方向，但是每个人每个学子，我们可以想象到最大的工作现在是在人对人，是爱心来对人。那爱心来对人，我们的职能教育是我的专长。我们在医疗有关的 vocational health education 可以往这边努力发展。有关这个贸易的事情，贸易的摩擦非常严重。我很高兴看到2个星期前，川普总统 reconsider TPP。TPP 我认为可以扩展到包含中国，但是在 TPP 的架构里面一定要包含 strict 严格的控管，一定要大家要遵循正规的 penalty 正规的法律法规国际法。我在这边再一次呼吁华裔选民给我这个机会，让我在6月5号看到你们投下神圣的一票，让我有机会进入国会，挺进国会，为华裔发声。感谢大家。
Thank you all again for this opportunity, and thank you for the conversation that we're having today and just the importance of our election on June 5th. As I mentioned earlier, I'm the son of immigrants. My parents came here to build a better life for my siblings and I. My father came with nothing. He had $500 in his pocket. The same day he was off the airplane, he was at a gas station pumping gasoline and helping just start our American story. My mom came here to finish high school. Spanish was her first language. My grandma never spoke English. And they had to start working right away to also build that American dream. Like many of you, they've sacrificed everything for my siblings and I. That sacrifice was making sure we had a good education, making sure we were living in a safe community, and making sure that we had the hope of what this country can and always has provided. We didn't have much, but we had a lot of love and support and faith in this country. And that's what we all share. And right now, we're losing that in America. We have divisions like never before. We have people trying to redefine what it means to be an American. And all of us are left out of that conversation, which is why it's so important we engage. It's so important we vote. And it's so important we make sure the immigrant voice is heard. We have to make sure that we keep family-based immigration. We have to make sure that we don't have discriminatory laws in our books, whether it's an apology for the Chinese Exclusion Act, but even more so making sure that our new immigration laws don't discriminate, and that we tap into the entrepreneurship of immigrants that come here to try and build our country. I'm fortunate enough, when I was a chief of staff in Congress, I visited China. I went to Beijing, I went to Jinan, got to travel the area and learn about the economy and learn about how the U.S. can better partner. We need more of that partnership today in our politics. We need to make sure that everyone can work together and that we build a real global community, because our district right here has voices from all over the world. We have a care with what's going on overseas, and we have belief that America is a great country that can lead. But it's on us to make sure that's possible. And so for me, my campaign's driven by restoring that hope in who we are as a country, making sure our immigration laws work, but also fundamentally making sure our education system is the best in the world. We must make sure the cost of education doesn't bankrupt families, but the quality of education, whether it's our K through 12 or our colleges, is the best in the world, so that anyone can come with and learn in our schools, adopt our culture, and help build the next future jobs. And going on the third point on jobs, I worked in clean energy for Solar City and Tesla. America can lead when we invest in entrepreneurs, invest in small businesses. Many of you are small business owners or have friends who are small business owners. Count me as a friend to make sure that we can build our economy. Having worked in business, I saw it can be a challenge to compete. It can be a challenge to put the work in there and make sure you can hire more workers and put food on the table. I want to build jobs in clean energy, solar, wind, electric vehicles, because that's where the future is. And that's what we can build together. And additionally, we have to make sure that not only do we have an immigration system that works, not only is our education system working, not only can we start businesses and be entrepreneurs, but families don't go bankrupt on health care. And for me, that's why I support Medicare for all. I want to make sure that our health care system doesn't make families broke. If you get sick, you should get the highest quality care. It shouldn't bankrupt you, and you should be able to trust that that care is going to be there on down the road. But we can't do that if we don't have a voice in this process demanding quality health care, making sure that prescription drug prices are too high. Because that's how we make sure the American dream is possible. We make sure that you have health care. We make sure housing is still affordable. We make sure people can have a job, they have an education, and that we have an immigration system that can build families. And I keep saying this because it is on us. And so for me, these aren't just words. My entire career has been dedicated to public service and building communities. I started my career working in civil rights and education and immigration. I was working for the Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund. I was working with the Asian American Justice Center on policy priorities in Washington, D.C. And then I worked in the United States Senate and had the opportunity to work for President Obama and as a chief of staff in the House. I understand how the government works, and we face big challenges. And so on day one, I pledge to you, I will be ready to do the job of advocating for everyone in our community. The reason why is I grew up here and I live here. I used to play basketball down the streets in Rowland Heights. My childhood home is just across the hill. I currently live in Fullerton. We need a voice that represents all of us, that can understand the diverse immigrant story of our community and restore the hope in our country. Because that's what we need today. The divisions are divisions because it's politics. The politics only goes so far if we don't engage. And so our campaign is going to be in the community and talking to all of you. I look forward to answering questions after and continuing the conversation today. And I ask for your vote. Your vote's going to matter this election. It's going to matter to make sure that the immigrant story, the American story, the story of coming from nothing and building this country can still survive in this moment. Sam Jamal, my website is sam4congress.com. Please stay in touch and let's work together to build our community for the next generation. Thank you.
We thank all the candidates for your wonderful presentations. I'm very touched for your dedication to serve the community. I wish everyone the best luck that you can have. So, last, please do not leave right now. So, Mr. Mon is going to, is going to present the closing remarks. Thanks.
Hi everyone, thank you very much. I don't have time because the down counter is right here. But don't worry. All right. Today is a very special day. Everybody feel something last night? Maybe somebody pushed you home? No. Earthquake, right? Wow. So that's a special day. I hope everybody can remember today. Thank you very much. And we are very honored to host the 39 District Congressional Candidates Forum in our lovely community, a mobile home park. Let us give a big round of applause to the candidates and their representatives. Thank you. And they show their dedication thought to our country with their attendance today. Thank you so much. There is a Chinese idiom that says, 有国才有家. It means that the happiness of the family comes from the integrity of the country. That's why we need to know and interact with our candidates. Thus, we can elect a great person to represent us. We are looking for equality, justice, health, peace, and happiness. I'm very happy to represent a few organizations to announce that later this year, the MRA 1441, Southern California Chinese American Campaign Supporting Group, and the National Council of Chinese Americans will host a congressional election debate for those elected in June's primary election. It will be here on Wednesday, October 3rd. Please save the date in your calendar. This forum is an important event so that we, the voters, can interact with those we are voting for to gain a greater understanding of their beliefs and ambitions. Again, we thank you for introducing yourself to us in this pleasure time to be together. I'm moved by your excellent preparations. I apologize for our late notice, prompting many candidates unable to attend. However, this forum is very successful. I learned a lot from you. Also, I'd like to thank our dear neighbors and friends, media friends, and Chiang, Carrie, and thank you so much for help decorate the room and prepare the food, so everything could be successful today. Thank you so much. And also I'd like to thank our dear friends from Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The missionaries have helped us before. And preparing lunch, so on. And so to create a good time for friendship, to mingle and enjoy. Wish you good luck and see you on October 3rd.